إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Dear students of Islamia, all the Musallis, parents, grandparents, I greet you with the divine greeting, with the greeting of peace. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us this great opportunity to be in the Masjids once again on this day of Jummah. And one of the adab, one of the etiquettes and the requirements of a Jummah is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that فَاسْعَوْا إِلَى ذِكْرِ اللَّهِ, one must hurry to the Jummah. And this means, when you say hurry to the Jummah, means that one must come here because there's something for you. And this that we are coming for is some nasiha, some advice. And so each and every person here, the young ladies and the ladies upstairs, and all of us here, each of us must come with an intention that I want to take at least one thing from the Jummah, which I will try and implement, at least from now to the next Jummah, if not for the rest of my life. But the attitude, the requirement of فَاسْعَوْا إِلَى ذِكْرِ اللَّهِ, run to the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is to take something from today. So I want to ask each and every young student here, each and every one of you, and the teachers, each of you here, to remember one thing. And perhaps in next week, when classes convene again, to talk about that and to remind one another of that. So that's one of the major attitudinal moments that a Muslim must have. A Muslim must come to the Jum'ah with an intention to become a new person. That must be your intention. I'm coming to Jummah, I'm going to take something, and that must change me. Those are some of my introductory words. But the khutbah focuses on that, but more broadly, on skills development and spiritual approach. We live in a time and an age where there's a constant call to say we need to develop the skills of the young people. And even those who have been in the workplace for many years, they have to develop and reskill themselves. And that it is incumbent for the labor force to be upskilling and reskilling themselves all the time. This is a call that is made and was made by our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and a call that is made in the Quran much before. Where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, وَلَكِنْ كُونُوا رَبَّانِيِّينَ, be you spiritual, be you godly. And this word kunu is an imperative, it's a command to say you ought to be like that. Kunu rabbaniyin, be spiritual. And this requires spirituality. This order is an order that repeats itself. Every day and every moment of our lives, this call is coming to us. Kunu rabbaniyin, be spiritual, be godly. Every day. Every day this verse is calling us and telling us, you have to upskill yourself in your relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You have to reskill yourself. You have to let go of the skills that take you away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So what do we mean by this skills development, a spiritual approach? When we say spiritual approach, we mean a godly approach. We mean related to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And when we say skills development, we are saying skills are the things, the actions, the practices that you learn formally or informally, in a class or outside of class, through a hobby or through a course that enables you to act in the world in a positive way. So in a nutshell, a skill is the ability to do something. So for example, riding a bike is a skill. And all of us who can ride a bike will know that you don't just get that skill immediately. It's a process. So you first give it a try, and then you fall off perhaps, or you wobble around a bit, and then sometimes you get some assistance. Eventually you get the feel of how it is to put your foot on the pedals and how to balance. So these are what we talk about skills. That's an example of developing a skill. And so these skills can develop into habits, which are, when you repeat something over and over, it becomes something that you do automatically. And so when we put the two together, when we say skills development and a spiritual approach, then we're saying that we want young people, and all of us here, young people who are still in the development of these skills, and older people who have to upskill and reskill, to bring within yourself those skills that will allow you and me to live a godly life. وَلَكِنْ كُونُوا رَبَّانِيِّينَ. But be you godly. So this is the focus of today's khutbah. That there is an understanding that we come into this world and we can't speak English or Arabic or any language. And that it is our life's journey and our life's purpose. And as Imam Ibn Ashura says, it is our fitrah to upskill yourself. And the first place where you develop your regional skills, your basic skills of being able to use language is in your family. But this idea of kunu rabbaniyin, or godly skills, or practical, let's call it practical, spiritual skills, can be thought of as in two dimensions. And they are intertwined and entangled, but for the sake of trying to look at them, we will look at them separately. The first set of skills is the skill of looking inwardly. The skills that come from the inside. And the second set of skills are those skills that are about looking towards the outside. So if we look at one particular skill that is about looking inward, then that skill we can say is called taqwa. And I want you to listen carefully. Taqwa, which can be translated as a loving and fearful awareness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Or in another way, as some have defined it or translated it as the consciousness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This inner skill has its formative part. In the same way when you ride a bike, you don't immediately have that skill. There's something before that. Sometimes you're just gliding on the bike, that formative part. So what comes before developing this full-on skill of taqwa? What comes before that? Before that, before developing that skill, comes the skill of dhikrullah, the remembrance and thinking about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this particular skill of remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is one of the skill sets that the Quran calls to the most. One is throughout the Quran, the skill set that Allah asks us to make the foundation of our lives is to remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so throughout the Quran, there are injunctions, instructions to develop this skill. Where Allah says, for example, فَاذْكُرُونِي أَذْكُرْكُمْ. Remember me, be aware of me, and I will be aware of you, and I will remember you. Ya أيها الذين آمنوا, or you who have faith, or you have iman, اذكروا الله ذكرا كثيرا. Remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with a lot of remembrance. So that is The first step of building taqwa is dhikrullah. And then from there, one develops this consciousness and awareness that my action, my state of mind, my practice must be in conformity with the fact that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is watching me all the time. In a sense, one can say that taqwa Allah means I'm aware that Allah is watching me. Now let's take an example from class, students. So when you are in class, what happens? Before the teacher comes in, we're talking about, maybe our game that we're playing, or soccer, or anything else, and then the moment the teacher steps in, what happens? Do we continue talking? We keep quiet. So why don't we continue talking? Why don't we continue talking when the teacher comes in? Because when we feel the presence of the teacher, we change our inwardly. So in other words, we are having, at that point in time, one could say, taqwa al-ustad. We're having taqwa al-ustad. Well, I'm sure you all have taqwa of your ustad, isn't it? Or are you of those who still continues laughing and playing after the teacher comes in? I'm sure Islamic students are all of those who, when the teacher comes in, they have this taqwa al-ustad. Right? So you take that analogy, and the Quran is a book of analogies. You take that analogy, وَلِلَّهِ الْمَثَلُ الْأَعْلَى, and all analogies beyond Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then we can see that taqwa is this awareness that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is with me, and acting in such a manner. It is said that Sayyidina Umar ibn al-Khattab once asked one of the other Sahaba, Ubay ibn Ka'b, he said to him, can you tell me what is taqwa? Can you give me an analogy of a way to understand taqwa? And then Ubay ibn Ka'b said, taqwa is like when you're going to walk through a field of thorns. And as you're going into this field of thorns, you pull up, at that time, you pull up your garment, your throat, your jibba, your jalaba, you pull it up, and then you tread carefully so that you don't step into the thorns. Right? So we see that Ubay ibn Ka'b gives us that example. That the idea of taqwa Allah means that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given awamir, has given instructions, and He has made nawahi, prohibitions that we must adhere to. And so the taqwa Allah, this idea that Allah is present with us all the time, means that we must obey the instructions, which is, for example, وَأَقِيمُوا الصَّلَاةَ وَآتُوا الزَّكَاةَ, establish your prayer and pay your zakah, and the prohibitions, for example, وَلَا تَقْرَبُوا الزِّنَا, do not go near to fornication and adultery. Then we find that this idea of taqwa was also explained by Amir al-Mu'mineen Sayyidina Ali ibn Abi Talib when he said that taqwa, al-khawfu min al-jaleel, is to have fear and awe of the Divine Majesty, wal-'amalu bil-tanzeel, and to act upon the injunctions of the Quran, wal-qana'atu bil-qaleel, and to be satisfied with whatever provision, even if it be little of worldly provisions, wal-isti'daadu li-yawm al-raheel, and to prepare yourself for the day that you're going to pass on and the day that you're going to journey on. So we find that this is a skill that we have to develop, a skill that is probably one of the skills that Allah calls us to do a lot in the Quran. So you find if you read through the Quran, there are numerous verses where Allah asks us, Allah says, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu ittaqullah. There's a number of verses where Allah says, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu ittaqullah. So this ittaqullah means that we've got to go through the process of developing, meaning we must start with the dhikrullah, and then we must move towards the taqwa. Then another skill that's got to do with the inward development, inward skill, And this is the skill of being one, listen carefully, not to follow the majority of people. The skill of not being a sheep or a blind follower. Alright? So the opposite of that skill means that one must be a thinker and you must be somebody who reflects. Now we live in a community, alhamdulillah. Many of us, our time is spent at Islamia, so we mix with Muslims. But we largely live in a community that's made up of non-Muslims. And when you move on from here and you come to the university, you will find that you are interacting with people from other faiths or people who have other values. And so one of the important inner qualities and inner skills that a young person should develop is not to be a sheep or a blind follower, but to develop the skill of thinking and reflecting. If you read in the books and the textbooks and all the latest articles about the skills shortage, then they will say the skills shortage lies in that we require people who are able to learn, who have this ability to do lifelong learning. That's the word they use, lifelong learning. Now when you say that skill of lifelong learning, it means that you can't go with the majority. You've got to be learning new things. You've got to be changing and moving from one step to the next. One can't stay the same. And so to the young people here, we say that it's important to realize that if the majority of the people in the Western Cape go to nightclubs, for example, or they are drinking, or they are fornicating, sleeping around, or they're watching pornography, or whatever other wrong they're doing. We as Muslims, we have our culture and we have our religion that instructs us not to be blind followers and sheep. We must be thinking and reflecting. And so one of the main skills that is required, not only in the world of work, but also in the world of Islam, is lifelong learning. But lifelong learning based on the fact that we don't succumb to what we call majority opinion. Everybody does it, so it's fine. No, that's not fine, and that's not the Islamic way. In actual fact, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the verse, وَإِن تُطِعْ أَكْثَرَ مَنْ فِي الْأَرْضِ يُضِلُّكَ عَنْ سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the verse, and if you were to obey most of the people in the world, you will find out that they will misguide you from the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah will preserve us from that. So the second skill is not to be a sheep. Okay? But rather, if I may use an analogy, rather we need to be inquisitive. Maybe I could say inquisitive as a fox. So rather than being sheep, let's be foxes. Right? Or if you want to use an animal that most of us love, then maybe we could say, be like a leopard. That is very stealthy all by themselves, but they get the job done. So this idea of not following the majority means how do you break out of this? Because most of us, and it's part of human nature to be wanting to follow the majority. How do we work ourselves out of being blind followers of the majority? One of the ways that are given to us in the Quran is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in a number of verses, إِنَّ فِي ذَلِكَ لَآيَاتٍ لِقَوْمٍ يَتَفَكَّرُونَ, which is to be reflective, to contemplate. And we find that the Sahaba radiallahu anhum, and definitely our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and definitely all the Anbiya, all embodied this contemplative attitude to life. And so we find that even before the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam becomes a prophet, for 5 years or for years before he becomes a prophet, he goes into the cave and he contemplates it. And he contemplates and he looks at what's happening in society, he's dissatisfied, he doesn't follow the majority. He looks around, he thinks about it. He doesn't say, okay, everybody's doing it, I'll just carry on, I'll just be like everybody else. He doesn't say that. He sits and he thinks, no man, this is not right. And that's not right, and he tries to help where he can. And so this act of reflection and being contemplative is a great sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. And it's an instruction that comes in the Quran. And more broadly, it's part of the Quranic instruction. When we find Allah says, أَفَلَا تَعْقِلُونَ? Do they not use their intellects? أَفَلَا تَذَكَّرُونَ? Do they not think about things? Are they not reminded of things when they look at, for example, when we look at how the day and the night changes? Are we not reminded that we have our lives is day and the night will be our death? Do we not realize that we have to live properly in the day, so when our death comes at night? So this is the type of reflective thinking a Muslim must have all the time. A Muslim cannot be a blind follower. A Muslim has to have a reflective attitude to everything, especially when you're in class. So when you're in class, this reflective thinking means that you must be inquisitive. You must have curiosity. And with curiosity, with asking questions, you will develop another 21st century skill that they are looking for, which is to become creative and innovative. Innovation and creativity doesn't come without questioning. So if you want to develop yourself into the next entrepreneur that will develop the next groundbreaking app, then you have to ask questions. You have to be reflective. You've got to be contemplative. You cannot follow the majority. You've got to think out of the box. But this is a skill that is broadly, this skill is broadly a skill that we must develop within the context of taqwa Allah, of dhikrullah. So it's not just a reflective so that we can, progress in the worldly way, but also reflective so that we can see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's majesty in the world, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's beauty in the world. So that when we go to the seaside and we see this beautiful ocean, not only must we think, okay, how can I do desalinization so we don't have the problem of the water shortage? That could be one way of thinking, that's one reflective way. So that's to solve the dunya problem, a world problem. But what we want is for you to see, subhanallah, may Allah subhanahu be glorified. How amazing must my Lord not be to be able to create a sea that impacts on the whole of the world, everything around me, the air and the access to fish and the tides, all of this is got to do with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's creation of the sea. So we need both. We need a reflective attitude that tells us about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's qualities, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's greatness, but at the same time, a reflectivity, a contemplative approach that brings us new insights, creative thinking, innovation, and an entrepreneurial mindset. So these are but two examples. The taqwa and not to follow the majority. These are just two examples of inward skills that we have to develop. There are other inward skills that we have to develop. For example, tawakkul ala Allah, to put trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and qana'ah, to be satisfied with what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us. But I think these are the two that we like the young people to focus on. The development of the taqwa of Allah, the loving and fearful awareness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and awareness of Allah, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is present, and that they are reflective thinkers. And they have a contemplative attitude, not only to the world so they can see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's greatness, but also to how they can bring about positive change and improvement to the world. There are spiritual skills that we need to develop. And one of those skills which is very important for young people to develop is what can be said in Arabic as al-amr bil ma'ruf, to command towards good, وَالنَّهِي عَنِ الْمُنْكَرِ, and to forbid from evil. This is a very, very important outer quality, if I can call it that. To call towards good and to forbid from when you see something wrong. This is the cornerstone of a healthy society. If you see somebody is copying in class, must you say, well, it's not my problem that he's copying, Allah will judge him? Is that the way we must respond, students? Is that what we must say? Must you say, no, it's his problem, the angel is writing, he's on the left side? Must we just say that? Or is it something we must do? What do you think, students? Should we do something? Alright? Now you can go to the teacher, the principal, and say so-and-so has copied. But the challenge of acting with what we call calling towards good and forbidding from evil is that there is negative effects when you do that. What will happen is your friend won't like you anymore. And then what you're going to do? He or she will say, but you, like we used to say when we were young, you pimped me. I don't know if I still use that word. You told on me. So now you go, as a young person, you got to know that it requires this outer quality. Requires that we must develop it because it comes with a bit of difficulty. But in the long run, it will lead to a better and more open and honest society. Sometimes this could even mean, students, that you have to tell on your teachers. If they are perhaps not preparing for the class, if they are perhaps late for class, and it could even be if teachers are doing things which are inappropriate, touching you inappropriate, might even be something like that. So these are big things, these are tough things that we're saying here. These are big things. I know the teachers are also in the masjid. But they have to, we all are responsible in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we have had cases where kids are abused, so we have to bring it out and say it in the open. We have to say that this al-amal calling towards good and forbidding from evil must be a quality that each and every young person develops. This is a quality that each and every young person must develop, and even all of us here. For those of us who are in the workplace, we will know. There are people that do illegal things, there's corruption, there's bribery, and sometimes we think, what must I do with that? This is going to complicate my life. Why must I talk about it? But if you say nothing, then they'll steal all the money and you won't have a job, for example. You will, as what happened with state capture, they stole all the money. And part of the problem is that this is a huge problem. As was shown in the history, what happened, for example, even in the time of the Holocaust, people just kept quiet. Or not enough people spoke up and said, this is wrong. And in our Muslim community, we must grow this ability to say the uncomfortable things. But it requires that we develop that skill. So initially, like the bike, when you ride it will be a bit difficult. But eventually, it will become easier. And if you do it, if you group with people, if you do it with others, that's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَلْتَكُمْ أُمَّةٌ مِّنْكُمْ يَدْعُونَ إِلَى الْخَيْرِ. Let there be a group of you. So for example, what we are saying is that Muslims need to develop the whistleblowing ability, the skill of whistleblowing. But the Quran gives us a sense of trying to get other people around you to support you. So this is an important external skill that young people must develop from now. Because that corruption that happened in the previous presidency is happening and it's still happening. And many of you will, when you grow up and you go into the workplace, these things will become like normal. And then how are we going to interact? We're going to just say, well, it's illegal, this is bribery, corruption, illegal, but what must I do? How will I get a tender? Or how will I do my job? Can we just say that? Then the second outward skill that we'd like to focus on in this khutbah, the second outward skill is that a Muslim must act towards adl, towards justice. i'dilu, says Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Act towards justice, to the right thing. Huwa aqrabu lit-taqwa takes us back to the first quality. As we said, these all intertwine, but just we separate them so we can make a distinction. I'dilu huwa aqrabu lit-taqwa. Be just. Be just with your children. Treat them equally. Be just with your students in the class. Treat them equally. And if you're the administrator, be just amongst your teachers. And if you're at the board level, then be just with the way that you treat people. I'dilu huwa aqrabu lit-taqwa. Be just, so that is closest to taqwa. So we can see that the skills that we need to develop are both inward skills, skills inside of ourselves, and skills to do with living in the world. The first two skills that we spoke about developing within ourselves, is the skill of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's awareness, also termed taqwa. And the second one is not to be sheep, not to follow the majority, but to be لِقَوْمِ يَتَفَكَّرُونَ, be of those people who contemplate and are reflective and look around them. First to see the signs of Allah's greatness, but secondly also how to solve the problems around us. So this is an internal thinking that you must develop within yourself. And then outwardly, we need people to have courage to develop the ability to make al-amr bil ma'ruf wa nahy anil munkar. To say when something is right and tell people too that this is the right thing. And when something is wrong, to say this is wrong, do not do it. And then last but not least, that ties us back to the first one, is i'dilu, be just. Huwa aqrabu lit-taqwa, takes us back to the. So all these four qualities, or these skills, these spiritual skills, all these spiritual skills need to be honed. They don't come immediately. It's like riding a bike. You start it, you struggle with it. But you have an intention to ride the bike, so eventually you get there. So the same with taqwa, you must work on it. And the same with being a reflective thinker, you must work on it. And the same with commanding towards good and forbidding from evil, try it. So I say to all of the people in the Jummah Journey, go home and practice it. Start with your family, start with your wife, start with your children, start with your friends. If you know something is good, tell them, al-amr bil ma'ruf. And if you see something's wrong, then say that's wrong. Practice it. And then last but not least, i'dilu. Be just. Be a person of justice that strives for justice. And through that, you will have increased your taqwa. With those few words, we ask that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grants us that we can develop these skills within ourselves. These are skills meaning that it takes time and it takes repetition so that before it becomes a habit. So we first have to start off slowly but surely. And then eventually, through the tawfiq, the success of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we will be able to imbibe these skills, upskill ourselves, reskill ourselves, so that we can deal with the 21st century problems, whether it's the global climate problem, but also the climate of godlessness, where people have turned away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we can counter both the climate change, but also this climate of where people are not paying attention to the beauty and the joy of living with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك.